It is no secret that I own a lot of books, and a lot of these books are unread. Now, I love having my own library and a good stack of TBR books, but when I take a deep dive into my shelves, I have books that are literally collecting dust. Books that I forgot I've even owned. Even books that could potentially be a 5-star favorite book of all time, but I haven't read it yet. Now, this series is not me going on a book buying ban. It's not me unhauling hundreds of books for the sake of shrinking my TBR pile. It is, however, giving the forgotten books a chance to become a favorite. Figuring out if certain books deserve to take up space on my shelves. I'll be using a TBR jar to select 5 books, and before the month is up, if any of the 5 books haven't been read, they must be unhauled. The end goal of this challenge is to have shelves crammed with favorite books. Books that I'll want to reread, share with my friends, or even to pass down to my children one day. So, I'm also giving myself the rule that if the book doesn't fit that criteria, it must also be unhauled. Now in the end, ideally, I'd like my physical TBR to be able to fit on this cart. So we have some work to do. I started this challenge with 754 unread books. Welcome to my Bookshelf Ultimatum. Welcome to episode 3 of Bookshelf Ultimatum. Hey y'all, it is Beth. We have 1 week left in the month of May. I literally waited until the very last minute to do this video. We're not even gonna beat around the bush. We gotta get started. We gotta get going. 5 books coming out of the jar. What can they be? What will they be? What shall they be? What are they going to be? First one, we have Girl Meets Duke series. So, in case you're unaware, when I pull a series tab, I'm just reading 1 book from the series. I haven't started this series yet, so I'll be reading the first book. So the first book in the Girl Meets Duke series is The Duchess Deal. The series is written by Tessa Dare, and you guessed it, it is a historical romance series. I've only ever read 1 historical romance book, and that was the very first book in the Bridgerton series. So I'm really excited to dive into this one because I've been having a lot of hit or misses in the romance category, and I'm really excited to see if maybe I can find some more hits in this particular like subgenre. Really excited about this one. Now let's pick our second book, and we have An Anonymous Girl. This is a thriller. It sounds like a thriller. It has to be a thriller. What a coinkydink. It's another book by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I read one of their other books in a past Bookshelf Ultimatum video, and it was one that I wound up unhauling. So I'm really excited to see how this one goes and if it takes the same path as the other book that I read by them. So we have ourselves a thriller. Okay, so book number 3. What will it be? Let us see. Okay, Beth, enough rhyming, enough rhyming. Letters from a Nut. This is funny. This is like, I call them like bathroom books. It's a joke book. Hang on. So we have more letters from a nut. It looks like aluminum foil there, but it is very, very like short in length, but also like on the pages. It's just jokes. I believe these are actual letters that this author, I think he's a comedian, I'm pretty sure he's a comedian, wrote to businesses and he got their response. So like A Precious Moments Wedding Chapel, he wrote a letter to them and then this is their response, things like that, and they're supposed to be funny. I don't know. I think this is gonna take me a little bit of time to read, so this is perfect because I am running low on time for this installment. So I'm not mad at it. It's just one of those random books that we picked up at Half Price Books one day just because it was funny. I have no excuses, but anyway. Book number 4. Give us something good. I feel like so far this is gonna be a good TBR stack. House of Hollow. I thought that was House of Leaves. Did you see my face? I thought for a second I pulled House of Leaves. It's actually House of Hollow. House of Hollow, and I actually read this book. Was it last month? I picked it up on a whim. I read it. I really loved it. So we're gonna redraw. That was like a YA horror book. If you're into that, definitely recommend House of Hollow. All right, up next we have Hunger. This is a non-fiction book. I haven't been showing the tabs. I guess I could have. Hunger. I'm pretty sure I picked this up because Jackie has talked about this book. I think she really enjoyed it. It is a non-fiction book. It's audiobook material, babe. Audiobook material. Which is great because I have a craft project, of course, because who would I be if I wasn't working on something crafty on the side? That audiobooks just come in clutch, you know? All right, last book. And see, my kids are so loud. Hooked. Oh, this could be interesting. Hooked. If I'm not mistaken, this is a dark romance, is it not? I've never read a dark romance before, so this is gonna be interesting. He wants revenge, but he wants her more. This is like a Peter Pan retelling, but I wanna say in this series, instead of like is it Wendy? I don't really know. James has always had one agenda: destroy his enemy, Peter Michaels, which Peter Pan. Okay, so it's Wendy. Wendy is the female love interest, and the male love interest is not Peter Pan. It is Hook, Captain Hook. Wow, this is such a random stack of books, and I will tell you this right now, none of these books were anywhere near the top of my TBR. So we have Hooked, which is a dark romance. We have Hunger, which is a nonfiction. We have Letters from a Nut, which is just like a coffee table, bathroom, funny little book. We have The Duchess Deal, which is a historical romance. And then we have An Anonymous Girl, which is a thriller. What a stack. A little rando, I don't even know where I was going with that. Rando, bando, whatever. Stack. This is an interesting stack, which I'm really glad I pulled these because honestly, these would probably still be sitting on my shelves 5 years from now. If I'm being honest, that's where these will be. So I need to figure out which one I'm gonna be reading first. I'm gonna be reading most likely these two physically for sure because they're romance and that's just how I like to read my romance. And then if I can find, and this I'm most likely gonna read physically because it's short in letters. So I'm gonna try to find an audiobook of one of these so I can continue to work on my blanket because I'm trying to finish up a blanket. That'll be perfect. So I'm gonna see which one I can find and then I'll update you once I get a little ways in to let you know what the book is about. Okay. You ever fix your hair and like in the bathroom mirror, it looks so good. And then now I'm just like questioning all my life choices. Like I'm trying to work with what I got. Okay, I'm trying to work with what I've got. I'm trying to regrow out my hair after getting this haircut that I got in February that I hated so much. It was also butchered, but we're not gonna talk about that. I really want to be one of those girlies that can just curl their hair at these really pretty like tasseled curls. I've tried. I've got to master it. And until then, we're just gonna look like we didn't even try. It's fine. It's fine. The first book. Let's get back to our topic at hand here, which is reading. The first book that I decided to pick up was An Anonymous Girl by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Peckening because honestly, the audiobook was immediately available at Libby's, so go me. And I'm 20% into this book, which I'm pretty sure is a thriller, though right now it doesn't really give thriller vibes. It just kind of gives like, I don't even know what, like fiction, whatever. It gives no vibes. But I read 20%, and out of this entire synopsis, what I've read only covers this much of the synopsis, which is wild. But anyway, so I'm not gonna talk about the entire synopsis. I'm just gonna tell you about what I've read thus far. So you're following two perspectives. The first one is Jessica, and Jessica is a makeup artist living in New York City in an apartment by herself, and that in itself is a choice because she is struggling for money and she charges super cheaply. She talks about how $500 is like 10 clients worth of work. So you're telling me you live in New York City and you charge $50. Girl, know your worth and then charge tax. But anyway, so she is out doing makeup on these two clients at NYU, I believe. And one of them is talking about how she wants to go out and party that night, but she has this like little survey thing that she wants to do the following morning because it's an easy $500 in her pocket, but she doesn't want to wake up early to go do it, so she thinks she's gonna bail. So then our main girl, Jessica, gets this information like sneakily, goes to this survey thing and is like, Taylor couldn't make it, so she sent me here to do it. And it's like a psychology type thing where they talk about morals and stuff, like morally type questions, like if your best friend's fiance was cheating on her, would you tell her? Or have you cheated on anybody? Or have you hurt anybody and then not regretted it? Things like that. Just some very deep questions. It's not like multiple choice. It's she's at a computer and she has to reply. And if the reply isn't extensive, the doctor's like, babe, I need you to elaborate. Give me more. Get deep. Dig deeper. Because it's like they're in a chat room type thing. It's very sus, I'll give you that. It is very suspicious, okay? Then we have and then we have the perspective of the doctor, who seems very stalkery in a way. It just reads like the book You from Carolyn Kepnes. Is that second perspective? I don't really know. You walked into the class and I could already see the sweat forming on your upper lip from the nerves of our third session. I wonder if you're going to take the opportunity to tell me the truth about the question. It's just very sus, very stalker-esque, everything's just very sus right now. I don't know what's going on, but from the synopsis, I can tell it's gonna get a little deeper because it does say, but as the questions grow more and more intense and invasive and the sessions become outings where Jess is told what to wear and how to act, she begins to feel as though Dr. Shields may know what she's thinking and what she's hiding. I also know that Jessica's family is also kind of struggling for money. So Jessica has a mom and a dad and a younger sister. And by younger sister, I mean that she's 22, but she's special needs. So she still lives at home with her mom and dad, and she needs like care all around, which is very expensive. And I believe the dad is out of a job right now. And so Jessica like secretly sends money to her little sisters, like doctors and stuff, without her parents knowing to help them out. I don't think that that is what she's hiding, because we're told that pretty early on, which is also another reason why she's doing this whole questionnaire thing, so that she can get more money to help her family. I don't really know where we're gonna be really going. Like, how is this gonna turn into a thriller? I'm not too sure. Kids are paging me. They want new coloring sheets. So I'm gonna go print them up some coloring sheets and then I'll continue on with my book. The kids are coloring away with all their color pages that I just printed off. RIP my printer ink. But let's go ahead and open up 2 Amazon packages that I had at the door, because one of them pertains to what I'm going to be working on craft-wise. I got a new crochet hook. This is a 6mm crochet hook. I'm going to start a new blanket once I'm done with my current blanket that I'm working on, and I wanted to try a bigger hook. So I really love the brand Clover when it comes to crochet hooks. So there we have that one. I also have one in the mailbox that I need to go get out, because I ordered 2 and they shipped them separately, and they sent one via USPS, which is crazy. And then this is just some yarn. It's this yarn. It's so gorgeous. I love these colors. This is by the brand Lion Brand, and they're mandala yarn in the colorway Happy. And these are the last 3. So I purchased 9 previously. I'm working on a blanket now. I'm on my 9th cake of yarn. I think these are called cakes. Skeins, cakes, spools, I don't know. I'm on my 9th one and I need a few more. So I have 2 more to add more with, I don't really know. And then the last one I'm gonna use for the border. And this is the blanket that I'm currently working on, and I'm hoping I can finish it within the next few days. I'm just doing, if you're familiar with crochet, I'm doing the moss stitch. I had no idea it was called the moss stitch. I just randomly found, this is the second, okay. Reverse. This is the second crochet project that I had ever started. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what the names of stitches were, whatever. So I just typed in like easy crochet blanket tutorial, whatever. And this video popped up. I'll link it down below. And it said like if you learn to crochet just one stitch, this is the stitch or something like that. And it was this blanket. And I have come to learn that this is called the moss stitch, M-O-S-S stitch. And this is what it looks like so far. And I'm just randomly grabbing skein, so it's not in any particular order. It's kind of sporadic with the colors, and I'm obsessed. I'm pretty new to crochet. If you've been here for a minute, you probably know. But it's looking so good. Let me stand up. It's looking so good. It feels good. This is a very nice brand, like nice quality yarn. I really love the feel of it. It is one of the softest yarns that I have purchased thus far. The other one that I've got that is pretty soft is same Lion brand, but this is their Heartland line. I am making a blanket with this as well currently, but that's on pause because I'm going to start working on Christmas blankets. So I have yarn coming to do a blanket for my father-in-law that is Astros inspired, but it doesn't scream Astros. So if that makes any sense. So like Houston Astros baseball team. Okay, whatever. I digress. That was in one package, which is exciting for me because that means I definitely have the materials now that I can finish this blanket this coming up week. This next package is just things I need to stock up on. So I have some itching spray for my dog because he just suffers with allergies. And then I just needed some sugar-free classic caramel stuff for my protein shakes because I put this in my protein shakes and I have enough left for one more protein shake. So I was like, let me go ahead. My coffee protein coffee. My protein coffee. That's what it is. It's not a shake. It is a shake because it's made out of a protein shake. Whatever. I needed some more of that. Anyway, I can get back to my book and my blanket. My husband is also on bowling league tonight. So, because normally when he gets home from work, a lot of the times I don't read because we watch TV shows and stuff together. So tonight he won't be home until super late so I can read through the night. Not through the night, but like until 10, 11 o'clock p.m. and not have to worry about keeping him occupied too. Anyway, okay. I feel very rusty at this. It's like, Beth, you haven't vlogged in 2 weeks. Do you even know what you're doing? It's the fact that I went to go lay down to charge my headphones for a minute and I wound up falling asleep for like an hour. And I'm not talking like a little light sleep. I'm talking like when I woke up from this nap, you could see my pillow creases in my neck. It was a good one. I'm probably gonna regret drinking an energy drink. I don't even know what time it is. I didn't take off my watch. It's 7:49 p.m. But you know what? Cheers. If I stay up all night, it's fine, because I don't know, honestly. I will tell you this, I did make progress in my book prior to going to do that. Okay, I'm at 35% in. And one, I think we found out what Jessica's big secret is. If it is her big secret, like if there's not another secret to be revealed later on in the book. Not that it's a dumb secret, because I feel like even if what had happened didn't happen, like what she did didn't happen, the big thing that did happen would have still happened. It's hard to explain it without telling you the secret, but what I'm saying is, this can't be the whole secret that we're hiding. I don't know. But then also we did find out that the doctor herself also claims that she has the biggest secret of all. So I'm curious to see what that is. And like the level of suspicion that she was given has gone up a notch because, so she's making Jessica do these tasks, right? Now that like the survey has surpassed just answering questions, she's making her do these tasks. And the first one was she went to this bar. She told her to flirt with this particular person. And so Jessica went to go flirt with this particular person to try to get him to take her home. Come to find out, this man was married, and the doctor did it on purpose because she wanted to see the outcome of the situation. It's just like the doctor has a bunch of stuff that she personally needs to be unpacking at her own appointment. Anyway, I'm gonna keep reading and see where this goes. Like, I'm still curious as to like what we're doing here. And how do you call this, a thriller? Listen, if you ever wanted to read a book about a sneaky bitch, this is it. So I finished An Anonymous Girl. I don't know why people want to say an unwanted guest. It was An Anonymous Girl. And hear ye, here's my thoughts and my opinion and rating and whatever. Let's just say this book, how do I put it? This book is probably the most predictable thriller that I have ever read. So you know, like when you read literally any other thriller, and something happens, whether somebody's dead or something's stolen or there's a secret or something like that, the author kind of keeps you guessing, like, oh, it could have been Janice. Oh, it could have been Fred. Oh, it could have been Joey. Oh no, it's Janice. You know, like you go through that little situation throughout the book and the author's like steering you this way and that way, trying to deter you from guessing. In this book, the literal moment that we find out like what happened, that makes it like an actual thriller. The literal moment that we find out what happened, you automatically know who it is. There is no second guessing through the entire book. You know who it is. The other people know who it is. Like, we all know who it is. Sure, things were revealed along the way, but there was really like no twist going on. If there were twists, I would say they were so lackluster I didn't even notice them. Like there was no shock value whatsoever. Now, was I entertained? Sure. Some of the pettiness I was there for. I was entertained. I was wanting to know what all this person was going to do. I was wanting to know how low of a level they were going to stoop to. So like, sure. I'm giving it a 2-star. A 2-star. That's my opinion on it. It's a 2-star. And it is wild when I was like looking at other people's reviews. People that I follow and I trust their reviews are giving this book 5 stars. Where? What book did you read, babe? Because this ain't it. This one wasn't it. Their other book, The Wife Between Us, which I thought also was like too similar to many other thrillers that I couldn't really love it because I had read almost the same book, if that makes any sense, is much better than this book. Now, let's talk about the Duchess deal. I want to say I'm probably like 15-20% into this book. I started it last night on my Kindle as I was laying in bed, and I am so hooked. I cannot wait to continue on. So this one is Marriage of Convenience. And we have our main girl. Her name is Emma. She is 22 years old, a seamstress, and she is kind of down on her money, down on her luck with money. She still has a job and stuff, but she currently has no money to buy food nor pay her rent, and her landlord is about to come a-knockin'. So she is the daughter of a vicar. I don't believe her and her dad are like in good terms right now, so she's not really speaking to him. She doesn't want to go ask him for help. She would rather be homeless, but she does have one last stop, one last option. It's this wedding dress that she put together, sewn together, added all these pearls and beads and stuff. It's a monstrosity. She never got paid for it. The dress was actually never picked back up because the person who it was for ended her engagement. She puts on this monstrosity of a dress and heads off to Ash's house. Ash is a duke, and she's like, look, I spent a month putting this dress together and I deserve to be paid. And he's like, okay, well, I can give you the money or we can make this deal, aka the Duchess deal. You marry me and give me an heir and I will buy you your own house in the country and you can live happily ever after. The end. He doesn't want to die one day, and his cousin, who he hates, gets all of his money, his property. And from my understanding, I don't know, because he's like, I don't want to put, you know, all these people down when I die and my fortune goes to my cousin. So I don't know the ins and out of that. I'm sure I'll learn more as I read. So the reason why his engagement was called off is because he went to war, somehow got caught on fire. So she says, like, from his temple to his hip on one side of his body is like burn scars. The girl that he was engaged to couldn't be engaged / married to someone who looked like that. And so now, ever since that has happened, he's also become a hermit. And he doesn't go anywhere, obviously, if that's what a hermit is. He doesn't go anywhere, he doesn't have company, he doesn't host parties, nothing. He just lives in this big old mansion with his like waitstaff and butler and stuff like that. They wind up agreeing to get married, obviously. The title is called The Duchess Steele, like hello. But then anyway, so later on, I want to say it's like she's going to her room for the first time or something like that. You know the servants that are just assigned to a person? I want to say it's like the lady's maid or something like that. Her lady's maid? I don't know. Again, I don't know. And her lady's maid is like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait until you fall in love. I was cracking up. I was like, that's definitely something that I would say. And she's like, Emma, the main girl, is like, I don't think that's gonna happen. We're here to give him an heir and that's it. Like, we're not gonna be falling in love. So don't hope for anything. Girl, let me show you the cover of this book. Don't you lie to us. We know you're finna fall in love. That was just so funny. Anyway, so that's essentially where I'm at. So since we talked about it earlier and the package has arrived, I thought I could go ahead and show you the colors that I got for my father-in-law's blanket. So we have the blue, just a regular white, and the orange. So it's Houston Astros, but without screaming Houston Astros. Does that make sense? I don't know, but I got 2 of each. And these are ginormous. Like, these are big compared to the normal size yarn. They're pretty big, so I'm hoping all that I have, they're £1 each. So 6 of those hopefully will get me a full throw for him. Anyway, I thought I'd show you that because my kids are gonna come in here asking to play with the box. So I had to open it anyway. Excuse me, I need your attention because I need to tell you about the book that I'm currently reading. I am 60% and I got a little carried away. I am 60% in. I am laughing, I am giggling, I am, dare I say, swooning. This book is so cute. It's so good. There is spice in this book, but you know, it just reads different when it's proper. I don't know how to explain it. It's not as dirty. Like, you know what I mean? I don't even know what I mean. Though we are like 60% into the book, they're not in love quite yet. I think they're in love. They just haven't admitted it. They are humping like rabbits though, because he is trying to get her pregnant and she is a feisty girl who just, listen. It's good. And the people, the staff in the house, they are still conning away, making their list of how to get these 2 people to fall in love because they're bored in the house bored. But I'm here for a good time. I'm enjoying it. And that, my friends, is my update. If I wasn't filming this video, I would 100% be picking up the 2nd book in this series and like going down this historical romance rabbit hole, or at least a Tessa Dare rabbit hole, because this book was so good. It was funny, so many funny parts, so unserious, but like it sounded serious, but it like I could picture this. Oh, my arm, I have no upper strength. Hang on. Oh, look, it's like we're having a sleepover. It was funny. It was cute. The spice was spicing without being overly done. Nobody was calling anybody daddy. The whole pet name thing was funny. I am so glad I read it. I cannot wait to continue on this series and also dive more into the historical romance genre. I don't know if all of the historical romances are similar to this book, but I need to also like maybe check out a book called Historical Romance for Dummies to get all of the names and stuff, whatever, like the kingdom. Is it even a kingdom? Is there a king? I don't know. I don't know if Venus is in the microwave. Is it my Aunt Flo about to make a visit? What it is, but I woke up in the absolute worst mood. I'm such a hot sleeper, like truly a hot sleeper, and I don't know what it was. Air conditioner set at 66 and fan blasting. I'm burning up all night long, y'all. I cannot be hitting menopause this early, can I? Do you hit menopause in your 30s? I did start a book last night. There's a pretty decent chance that I will be DNFing said book. I started Hooked, which is a dark romance. This is not, let me tell you, this is not the first dark romance book that I've ever tried to read. I did try to read one other one a few years ago. You can tell I rub that in without seeing. So I tried to read one dark romance book like 2 or 3 years ago. I DNF'd it because it just wasn't vibing with the characters and how childish they were and then how much smut was in the book. And so I was like, let me It might have just been like that particular one. Let me try another one. Anyway, long story short, I started hooked. Anyway, I started that. And this is very, very, very loosely inspired by, I guess, Peter Pan. I've never read Peter Pan, but as a child, I did watch the Robin Williams like adaptation of it. And this is way different. So we have James, AKA Huck. James is not only like this big macho drug dealer. I'm not talking about Sam who lives next door who's selling you a dime bag on a Thursday. I'm talking about a drug dealer so high up there he's filling up planes with kilos. Is kilos the right terminology? I don't even know. He's that kind of drug dealer. And he also, I believe he owns a bar, or at least he like stays in the back room all the time. I don't really know. I'm assuming he's owning it because these bouncers are refusing to let these girls in because one of the girls, Wendy, has a fake ID because she's only 20. James sees her in the monitor and he's like, wow, she looks young and pure and innocent. Immediately gets a boner, which gross, but whatever. He's like, let her in. Later on, they have a little bump in the hallway and they talk like a banter type situation, and then they go their separate ways. And he's walking back to his little back room, okay, and has this little envision of him her on top of her dad's remains because he hates her dad. He envisions his juices, okay, dripping off of her and into her dad's blood and mixing together. And the thought of his juices in her dad's blood mixing together gives him a mega boner. So then he calls one of the girly pops who works in the bar to come and suck him off to relieve the boner. And that, my friends, was when I was like, yeah, I don't think this is gonna be for me. We have Wendy, Peter's daughter, okay? Peter is like the owner of this airplane company, Never Air Landing, I think is what it's called, Never Air Landing or something like that. Or James and James's people, I think, want to use him for his planes to like distribute the drugs, you know? And James also wants to murder him. James cannot stand him. We don't know why, but James does not like him. And now he is so focused on getting Wendy, her brains out, destroying her, and leaving her helpless on her daddy's doorstep. That's his mission in life right now. So romantic. So anyway, that's what I started last night. I'm gonna put that on hold because I am reading that via the Kindle, and I'm gonna go pick up Hungry by Roxane Gay. Listen to the audiobook. This is a memoir, and it's about her life being plus size. I know she says that this isn't a success story. It's not a weight loss story. It's not a story to give you tips on how to lose weight or this, that, and the other. It's her story of her body. I'm gonna go have breakfast and do things. Trying to decide if this is wide enough or if I need to add on one more skein of yarn, which gives it about 4 inches. So this skein started with the red, so it gives it about 4.5 inches. So if I add one more, it'll be like that long. But I'm really tired of working on this blanket, not gonna lie, that's my reasoning. Anyway, I finished Hungry. Let me update you on that. Okay, so with the blanket really quick, because you're not gonna see much more on the blanket in this video, and because I started talking about it in this video, I thought I would catch you on up. But I did call Paul in here to be my little test bunny, and he covered up with the blanket and whatever, and he was like, yeah, I think adding that one more skein of yarn to it before adding the border would actually, it would benefit the blanket. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I'm not gonna have any more crocheting time in this video because the next book that I'm reading physically, and I can't physically read a book and crochet at the same time. I am not that talented, babe. So if you wanna see how I wrap that blanket up and add the border and how it comes out in the end, definitely follow me on Instagram because that's where I'll post it and you can see it there and I'll talk about it there. And I also have like a crochet highlight on my Instagram that has like links and stuff and more information on crocheting things if you're curious. Let's go ahead and dive in and talk about the book Hunger by Roxane Gay. I'm not gonna go too deep into this because I just have a lot of feelings about this book, but most of them are on such a deep level that I don't really want to talk about it because I am a plus size woman. Okay, I haven't been plus size my entire life, but I have been plus size a lot of my life. I have struggled with eating disorders my entire adult life. Like, I've literally gained over 40 pounds in the past 4 months because I am currently in the process of dealing with binge eating. Reading this book and reading about her struggles of being a plus size woman and all the things that she thinks, and it was just her negative mindset, because she is very like, she has these negative thoughts in most of this book. It kind of fed my negative thoughts. I should not have read this book because of that. There's nothing against her and against her life experiences and her story and whatnot, and I should have known better, because when she says at the beginning, like, this is not a success story, this is not I didn't think it was going to be what it was. It definitely was very triggering for me because of my current I don't even want to talk about it because I'm gonna cry. I'm giving this book 2 stars. And again, it's not because of her life, it's not because of her experiences or anything like that. It's the reason what I'm writing this book for is how unorganized it felt. And then another one of my critiques is that it was super repetitive. There were things that she would say and she would talk about, and then she would talk about something else, and then she would go back to that same thing, but she would just say it a different way, but it was essentially the same thing, the same thoughts, her same opinions, but just told in a different way, and it was just super repetitive. This story could have been a lot shorter and it still would have been the same story, you know what I mean? Then she goes on to skinny shame, saying like fit people don't belong in a gym. Why are they here? They shouldn't be allowed in the gym when I'm here. When she's describing skinny people, she just points out all of the negative features about them. That's the same thing that other people do to you when they're fat shaming you, so why are you doing it to them? Very hypocritical, I guess you would say. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not the right audience for this. You could say it was triggering for me, but I did finish it, and that is that. Anyway, on to the next book. Because I did DNF another book today, I picked up More Letters from a Nut book. It was not funny at all. I think I read maybe 30 letters, and I wound up putting the book aside, and I was like, I'm not even gonna waste my time because they weren't even funny at all. It was like he wrote a letter to Coca-Cola and he was like, yo, I'm inventing this Coke and I'm calling it, what did he call it? Kayet Doke. And it doesn't taste like Diet Coke, it tastes like Diet Pepsi. It's just very stupid. And then Coca-Cola just responded with like a cease and desist letter. It just was stupid. With this challenge, if I don't enjoy the books or I don't read the books, they have to be unhauled. So I am unhauling the nut letter book situation. However, it's only going from my book room to these shelves here. We have these shelves here, if you can see back there, and there's some on the other side of the desk. That's where my husband's books are. And it's coming in here to these shelves because he wants to read the book, and then after he reads it, he'll decide if he wants to keep it or not. He'll probably get rid of it because it's that stupid. 0 out of 10, do not recommend. So the only book that I have left is to finish Hooked. And I'm gonna give it like another 10%, and then I'm gonna come back and I'll let you know if I'm gonna continue on with it or if I'm just gonna go ahead and DNF that one too. I feel like this video, I was like, oh man, I hope it gives me easy books and like short books because I'm filming this at such last minute in the month. And sure, it gave me like easy books, but I feel like I've only had one good read so far. It is what it is, I guess. But I'd get on your level. So I'm reading Hooked. And listen here. Wendy has met James. I'm still at 13%. I ain't even read 2 pages. Wendy met James at the bar. She never told him her name. He knows who she is because he recognizes her as Peter's daughter. But she never told him her name. Like, she doesn't know that he knows who she is, okay? So then the next day, he goes to her job, doesn't order anything. She is dealing with a rude customer at the time that he goes in to her job, and then like, whatever, things go down, whatever. He winds up leaving, and she says, it isn't until hours later when I've closed up shop and settled in for my movie night with John that I realize he never ordered a drink. A small smile lights up my face, butterflies erupting in my stomach at the thought that maybe he was there for me after all. It should put me on guard, but instead excitement floods my insides. Girly pop, how did he know where you worked if he didn't know your name? To me, that's given red flag. So I fell asleep. I think my whole house fell asleep. My son's asleep. What time is it? Oh my gosh, it's almost 5 p.m. I don't even know what I was reading, but I know that I was out and my Kindle was on the floor. I needed an energy drink. What? I need an energy drink. Here's one reason why I think dark romance may not be for me. Besides the obvious of the heavily on the smut situation. Here's another thing. So like in books, when you have a bad guy per se, either I want justice to be served or the punishment has to be equal to the crime. So for instance, in You by Carolyn Capnes, wasn't a big fan because I couldn't root for him. I was not on his side. I didn't want him to win. He was a serial killer, you know what I mean? But like in the TV show Dexter, it's different because he's out there killing people that killed people. In Razorblade Tears, they're out there seeking justice for the murders of their son. But then there's another book where a woman pushes a man off the roof to kill him because he tried to kiss her. That punishment was not equal to the crime of him trying to kiss her. And so that was like, I didn't like that. And in this book, when James was at Wendy's place of work, the second time that he had ever met her, when he was at her place of work, there was a customer there, a rude customer, right? And he got that rude customer, took him back to some basement and brutally murdered him for being rude to Wendy. Bruh, what? You don't even have Wendy's phone number. It is not that serious. I don't believe I'm a fan. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. It's different. It's different in a fantasy book. Let me just say that. It's different in a fantasy book when everybody's killing everybody and you're out there surviving, and it's different. Ladies and friends, we are gathered here today in our jammies with our Laura Ingalls Wilder hairstyle. We have a sleepy pug behind me to wrap up this third installment of Bookshelf Ultimatum. I chose 5 books out of the TBR jar. I've either read or DNF'd all 5 books, and I am here to tell you about them, the results. We're wrapping this up, essentially. So, there you go. Now, let's go ahead and talk about this book, y'all. This is Hooked by Emily McIntyre. First things first, I'm the realist. I want to tell you about why I have dark romance on my bookshelves. I feel like I'm a pretty broad reader in general, but so I have this friend, like in real life, believe it or not, that we meet up sometimes because my husband's friends with her husband and our kids play. It's a whole thing. It's called friendship, okay? And I meet up with her and she reads books and I read books. And so you would think we would have so much to talk about, which we do. I give her all the book recommendations and tell her about books that I've read, and she does the same thing to me. But the thing is I read, you know, thrillers, crime books, very cheesy romance, literary romance type books. She reads erotica, dark romance, super smutty. Our taste does not align, which is fine, One day, I think it was like last year or something, I was like, let me just pick up a few so I can see, you know, maybe I do like dark romance and we'll have this in common and I can relate to all the girlies on TikTok because it's a big thing over there, you know, like maybe. It's not for me. I can't get down with James and his like, he gets an erection every time he sees Wendy. He envisions these like I get it, there's dark themes in these books. Like I get it. I'm very well aware of that. That's not what turns me off. Okay? I read horror, I read thrillers, I read disturbing books. I have an entire Stephen King shrine, essentially. Like that's nothing new to me. But to like sexualizing it is gross. For me. If you love it, then that's fine, babe. I will mail you this book. But I don't like it. It's just not my taste in men, okay? It just is not my vibe. And I get it if it's yours. Truly, I get it. I absolutely 100% love detective books, and a lot of people don't like those, and that's fine. Reading is subjective, and it's completely fine. So, I feel like I really have to tell you why I don't like this. I should just be able to say I don't like this and move on. I didn't like it. And also Wendy. Girl code, babe. Girl code. So she has this friend, and we know her the very beginning of the book that this friend has a huge crush on this guy named Hook. She has been enamored with him for months now. Like she goes to this bar because he's there. He comes up to Wendy, asks Wendy out on a date, and Wendy's like, hell yeah. Well, y'all bet you know that your best friend has been crushing on him for months. And then you want to like be shooketh because your friend is now being smart to you? I wonder why, girl. Anyway, I'm DNFing this. Then I DNF'd this book. It's just not for me. It's not for me. And this is just like a joke book. It's nothing serious. You probably wouldn't like it. I don't even think my husband's gonna like it. I have a friend and her husband is like king of dad jokes, and I don't even think he's gonna like it, but we'll see. Okay, then let's talk about the books that I read but I didn't really like. I really feel bad about this one. I really do, but I'm sorry. I done talked about it. I don't want to talk about it anymore. The next one that I read and I did not like was An Anonymous Girl by Greer Hendricks and Sarah Pekkanen. I just felt like this was 100% too predictable. There was no second guessing. There was no like who did it, nothing. It was, where was the mystery? There wasn't a mystery because you automatically, like as you're reading it, you know what's about to happen. And anything that you guess in here is correct. There's that. I gave that one 2.5 stars. 2.5, something like that. The only book that I enjoyed in this entire video is a historical romance. And let me tell you what, this was so cheesy. And I think because of the cheesiness in this book is the reason why I loved it so much. It's not anything like A Princess Bride or Ever After or anything like that, but I don't know what it was. There's something about this book that just reminded me of those movies. I just loved it. And if I wasn't doing this video, I would have because I have the second and the third book on my bookshelves. So if I wasn't doing this video and I didn't have a set TBR for this video, I definitely 100% would have went and read the second book in the series. Matter of fact, if you see me in my wrap up for this month, reading the second book and maybe the third in the series, mind your business. I really enjoyed this. If you have not given historical romance a chance, and I say that I've only ever read 2 historical romance books, I liked this one more than I liked the Bridgerton book. I've got a bad copy as well from Amazon. I got this years ago. Like, it's a messed up copy. It gives that character. It's like me, we match. Okay, anyway, those are the 5 books. I'm keeping 1, getting rid of 4, making space on the shelves. But also, really quick before I let you go. So listen, the last time I bought a book was The Funny Story by Emily Henry. It was a pre-order, it came in the mail. Then I went 4 weeks without buying a single book. 4 weeks, my friends. And then I just got a book, the new Stephen King book, but it was a pre-order that I pre-ordered the moment that we were able to pre-order it months ago. I've been buying a ton of yarn though. That's probably why. Anyway, that is it. That is that. I think next month, in the month of June, I might do 2 of these episodes just to like get a little head start, you know? And maybe, hopefully, we'll get some really interesting books. Anyway, that's it. That's all I gotta say. I have nothing more. Nothing more. I don't know. What?